Hello and welcome to today's training webinar, 12D Synergy 101 Part 2, 12D Model Management Fundamentals. I'm Arturo and I'm with the training team here at 12D Synergy. This training series from 12D Synergy gives you a step-by-step insight into the essentials of operating the software, ideal for a 12D Synergy novice or someone looking to learn a little more about 12D Synergy and how it can help you manage your 12D model projects. In this second part of the series, we'll be guiding you through the fundamental workflows and best practices for using 12D model with 12D Synergy, from creating and uploading 12D model projects to managing customizations and taking your projects offline. You'll also learn some new time-saving tips and shortcuts to help you manage your 12D model projects more efficiently, all while seeing 12D Synergy in action. Today, I'll be joined by Tim Brooks. Tim is a 12D Synergy and 12D model expert. He's a skilled civil designer with over 22 years in the industry. He has helped thousands of people learn both 12D model and 12D Synergy. Before we start with this training webinar, I will just take you through some quick housekeeping. Firstly, this webinar is a recording from another training session we recently presented to help our new and existing users smoothly transition to working from home. As engineering and construction offices transition into a new future of remote working and data management, it was the perfect training session to re-release. On your left-hand side, you'll find a chat box. Please feel free to send any questions throughout the webinar. While this training isn't live, we'll pass on your questions to our support and training teams to respond after the webinar. So without further ado, let's get into it. Here's Tim.
Welcome to 12D Model Integration Training for 12D Synergy. So we'll get straight into it. Just to show you what a 12D model project looks like in 12D Synergy, if I click on a project here, you will see it gives you the description window, the details window, and the last active view that your project was saved on. You will note that if you expand a 12D model project, you will see a working folder that's made for you. You don't need to worry about that. Synergy handles the makeup for you. And then you'll have your dot project and any other subfolders and files underneath that one. So the working project holds your MTFs and chains and etc. as per normal. All right, we're going to go through how to create a 12D model project in Synergy to start with. Now, everything in Synergy is permissions related, so unless you are given permissions to create these items, you won't be able to, or you may be limited where you can create a 12D model project. We'll note with 12D Synergy, you actually don't need a 12D model license to create a project. You only need it to open the project. So if you right click on the folder that you want to create a 12D model project under, hover across new, you'll see 12D model project there. So you can pick that one. And this is where you give your project a name up the top here. You can tell it what version you want to create it in. There's a customization setting that we'll talk about a little bit more later on. And then there's optional 12D model attributes. Now this will depend on your company setup, if and why you have them. One of the options you have with 12D Synergy is to use 12D model project templates. And by picking, say, an attribute like this one, 12D model type, I can say, well, I want to create a drainage project. And we can enforce naming rules as well. So down here, I could pick from a list, say, zone 0. I could give it a description, so it's drainage for the roads. And as I fill that out, you'll see that it names the project for me. Not only that, this attribute here, the 12D model type, is linked to use a project template. So that means I can have a predefined template already set up. It could have views set up the way I want it, toolbars set up the way I want it. It could have standard chains in the project, or even setup files in the working folder all ready to go. or even subfolders with standards in it and stuff like that. You can set it up however you want. That is all optional. Otherwise, you can just do it from scratch here and then hit create. You will notice that I do have some other attributes here. They're in italic font, which means they are optional. I don't need to put a value next to them. But down the track, if someone did a review on this project, they could put their name in as the approver and an approved date as well. So I'm going to go create. Okay, that creates the project for me based on the template that I'd already have set up. It's up in my library already, and you'll see my project sitting there ready to go. All right, another way to create a 12D model project is if you already have one, of course, or multiples. You've got a working folder, just like this one, all ready to go. You simply grab the project or projects and drag them into 12D Synergy onto the folder. In which case the 12D model attributes will kick in, and even though I can pick this 12D model type, it's not going to force the naming rule on this one. This project already exists, and it's not going to use the project template, of course, either. Once the project is in Synergy, however, I can rename it if I want to. To give you an idea how these other attributes will work, if it's been approved, a person could click in here, they could put their name or the Me shortcut button, and then the date one, simply click in, puts the date there, ready to go. Hit set. As per normal, 12D Synergy will give me an upload preview, make sure the project's in the right location. I can, at any point in time, say, well, I don't want to bring this folder over, and hit the remove button, and it'll copy everything else over except that item. Otherwise, hit upload, and it'll copy the project into 12D Synergy. It's worth noting here that if you have multiple projects sharing one another, if you drag and drop them at the same time, 12D Synergy will try and keep the sharing links and synergize those paths for you. The benefit of having synergy paths over standard paths is that Synergy tracks any changes. So if you were to rename projects or move a project, it won't break the sharing links in future. It will track those movements. All right, and you can see the Design Highway project there, at which case now I can right click on it, go edit 12D model project, and under general, I could come in here and rename it if I wanted to. And you just hit save to make those changes complete. Close it, and there's my project renamed. All right, when it comes to working on these projects, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. You can click on the project first and do a checkout, remembering that checkout is the process of caching it to your local workspace and locking it to you for editing it, okay? Once that's done, you'll see that if I click off that one, the writing has turned red and it indicates who has it checked out next to it. So you always know who's in what. You can then come and hit the open button. Now, one of the options behind the scenes is you can set a default configuration path as well, which I've done here, pointed into my library, and I can just pick a configuration for this project as well and select open. As it opens up the project, based on the setting I have, it's doing a check on my user and user library files to make sure I have the latest. Okay, so that's my project open and ready to go. Okay, that's one way of doing it. The other way of opening a project is you can click on it. You could just go straight to the open button. All right, it will default to open with checkout. Okay, the other option you got is you can hit the little black arrow next to it here, and you can open without checkout. So another benefit of Synergy is you can actually open projects read-only from the get-go. Okay, Otherwise, standard open. Again, I'm going to pick my configuration and select open. Now, this is the first time I'm checking out this highway project. So the first time you open a project, it will cache the whole lot down to your local workspace location. All right, once again, running a check on my user and user libraries. Already have the latest, no transfer required there. And the project is finished opening up, and you can start work as per normal. It's important to know that, it's really only the integration with 12D Model that changes here. All your tools and the use of 12D Model stays the way it normally does. Okay. All right. When you're finished doing work in your projects, you obviously need to save and close them and check them back in to Synergy. So you can just do that the way. You can, go project save, project exit. Come back to your 12D Synergy client. You can then click on that project here and select the check-in button. Okay. Now again, this is our wizard mode. So my administrator has given me some predefined options here that I can choose from. However, if they don't suit my requirements, I can always go to the manual description and type what I've done. And that's important. Bearing in mind that if you don't use wizard mode, your predefined options sit down in a drop-down list down below here. Now, you also have the option to keep checkout status turned on, which means you can check your project in, but it will keep it checked out to you so you can keep working on it. And note that on a managed folder check-in, you'll have your overview at the top here as well. So 12 files changed, there's 2 new files. You can see changed by the orange color, green is new. And if you see it red, red is things that have been deleted. All right. So type your little history comment, and then you can hit submit. Now, on the check-in process, it no longer transfers the entire project back to the Synergy server. It only changes the files that have changed within the 12D Model project, so reducing your data transfer. Likewise, when I go to check out that project again, because I already have the latest in my workspace, there'll be absolutely no data transfer required. It will just open up the project. If somebody else happens to open the project before I open it again, it's not going to transfer the entire project back down to my workspace, only the files that have changed within the working folder. So minimalistic data transfer from now on in. All right, the other way you can check in a project is from within 12D itself. So you can come up to the project menu. You can come down to 12D Synergy, hover across the black arrow there and go check in project. Now, this one is more of a working update. So yes, I'll save the project. I'll do the manual description as well so you can see what's happening here. There's your overview at the top. All right, so new into Synergy. And you'll notice that my keep checkout status on this one is ticked on. I don't have a choice. All right, it's a working update. So when I hit submit, it checks the project back in, or updates the server, I should say, but leaves my project checked out and open so that I can continue working on it. So that's handy if you're doing sharing. You might want to update the server so that people that are sharing your project can get your latest changes, because it's not until it's checked back in onto the server that everybody else can see your changes there. All right. Let's move on to have a little bit of a look about customization in Synergy. There are some different customization modes. The latest one that I probably recommend is the download customization on project startup. And what this means is it uses a Synergy path. So if I was to look at my configuration and pick, say, my EMU Park 1, it's using an environment file. So if we were to have a look in there, it's using synergy paths to point to those user and user library locations. Okay, and you can do that just by clicking into your environment file or configuration, selecting the browse, and coming down and going browse 12D Synergy. So we'll open up to your current job, but you can change job and browse to say a library, which your user libraries might be kept in. For convenience, I've got them in this project. So you can pick that there, go select, it makes it a synergy path. All right. Now using download customization at startup means that when it looks at these folders, it will download those to my workspace when the project starts up. Okay. If I've already got them downloaded, there's obviously no download required. But say someone goes in and updates a setup file or a configuration file for whatever reason, it will check those and download the changes as and when required. All right. Now, apart from the env configs file, it means that as long as I have access, I can update any one of those configuration files from within the project. So I can say, for example, come and edit my names.4d file. In this case, I might come and say, put a new string code in down the bottom here. Actually, I'll do a wildcard. Might put it in an unknown model. Can pick a color, line, and we'll just go for a one line style. And when I go write, you'll see that I have the option to write back to the user folder, and it is synergy path. So when I hit write here, and then finish that one, I can come back to my 12D Synergy client. And you will see that in my user folder, my names.4d file has been checked out automatically. So I can make those changes. It will not check it back in, but because it doesn't know when you're finished with it. So you will have to come here and check it in. Do your description. So unknown string added. Okay, and then you can hit submit, then everybody else will get the changes. It's important to know, as part of the notifications, you can also go, you can also use the @ symbol and start typing a name, pick it, and that will send notifications to that person to let them know that you've updated that file. You can do group names as well, like you can go @ and if you're using, say, designers or surveyors, you can type a group and everyone in that group will be notified too. We're going to hit submit, checks the names.4d file in, and now everyone has access to those changes. All right. Moving on to sharing from 12D Synergy. We're going to use the sharing manager. So for this project, we're actually going to share the survey project in. So note that project sharing, you can use your manager from there. Setting as per normal, they still work in Synergy, so it will check on interval. It will do the auto syncs as well if you have those set. All right. You can also use your manager from toolbars. Once again, you just come down to new project. Because I've opened from Synergy, it will default to Synergy. However, you can still share from a local or network location as well. But we just browse for the project. And in this case, I want the survey project. Hit select and set. Adds it to the model tree, at which point you just come through and select what models and tins you want to share in. Okay. When you're ready, hit the add button. You'll still get the yellow highlight that you used to. So that's all still there. Likewise with the tin. Stick it on and hit add. Now we're not showing it today, but you can do master share files as well. If you're going to do master share files, I recommend just creating like a share folder and saving your master share file to something like that, a location. Always better than saving it within the projects. Okay. All right, finish that one and you'll see I got access to all my survey models for sharing in. At which point I can come and save the project. Going to close it down. And I'm going to check that highway project back in. Put in my little comment and hit submit. And again, you'll notice very minimalistic transfers back to the Synergy server, only what's changed. All right, another advantage with Synergy that we have here is often you close down your project, you'll go, oh, I forgot to make my new models available for sharing. So you've got to open it back up and turn them back on. But with 12D Synergy, you can just right click on it, go edit 12D model project, select sharing, and you can just come and tick the models there. All right. You can also come in and tick the tins. So I want those two tins as well. And of course, make sure you hit save. And go OK. And then you can close that one down. So that's a lot quicker than having to open up the project again. Something else you can do with 12D model is, whilst permissions are normally set at the folder level, you can edit the project. You can come down to permissions and you can set different permissions per project as well. Okay, whether that's on a user basis, Synergy group permissions, or team role permissions. Okay, those extra permissions are, for example, this is a design project. So I'll add the designers. Apart from being able to create a 12D model project, the other permissions are, can you see the project in the list? So that's a view permission. Can you open it and edit it? And can you share from it? Okay. So generally this is set at the folder level, but in this case, you could also set them here. And you could add different groups in. So for example, there might be the drainage group. And whilst you want them to see it, you could deny them the ability to open and edit it, but you could allow them to share from it. Okay. And then there might be other groups, sorry, surveyors, going to pick on you here, where you can just flat out deny them the ability to even see the project in the list here. Okay. Therefore, they can't even open it or share from it. But you could tick all those on as well. Any changes, of course, again, don't forget to hit set and OK. All right, we're going to have a look now at importing and exporting from a 12D model project. So again, I'm just going to open this project back up. You'll note that it does a quick check. There's no transfer required. It will just open up the project. So I already have the latest on my workspace. First of all, we're going to look at reading data into Synergy. You can obviously come up through the menu, go File, Data Input, pick your file type that you want to read in. You can also, in version 14, use like the Quick Access toolbar, pick what you want to read in here as well. So say it's a 12DA. You could then go File Browse. You have a number of different options here. So you can click the browser there. It will open you up to the current project. You can then browse up to a different folder and pick what you want to import and read those things in. Okay. You can also just go browse file system as well if you want to browse to a network or local drive. Okay, so those options are all there. The other option you have is if you've got Synergy open next to your 12D model project or on another screen, doesn't matter which one, you can come and grab the file from in Synergy and you can use drag and drop. So make sure you pick the view that you want to read it into, release on it, and of course all you got to do then is hit read and it reads the new data in. So drag and drop works that way as well. All right, when it comes to writing out data, there are a few different options here. You can obviously go file, data output, pick any file type, doesn't matter which one. Or again, on your quick access toolbar, you can pick it from here as well. So again, I'm going to use the 12DA option. Come and pick the data you want to write out, of course. You can write your file name here. So it might be alignments. And of course, you can come and hit write. And because you haven't browsed anywhere, that file is in your working folder. Okay, so you know if you check the project back in, that file is going to check back in with the project. However, if you want to move it from your working folder to a 12D Synergy folder, you just pick it here, come down to 12D Synergy and go add. It'll give you the job search, so you just pick the job or project you want to put it into, then select the folder you want to write it into. So there we go, outputs 12DA folder, hit select, and then you have the option to copy it there or move it there. So I'm going to go move and go new file. And you'll see now that that file is no longer in my working folder, but has been moved to my outputs folder. Okay. The other option you got is almost like a direct write to that folder. So where it says output file, if we hit the yellow browser, came down and selected browse, we could actually pick the folder we want to write it to straight away. So again, just pick that, come down, select a file name. So I'll go alignments -1 just to make it different and hit select. Now I can hit write here, and if I came back to the client, you'll notice that that file is not in that folder yet. Okay, this is what we call a pending file, and often people forget about this last step. It's written it to memory. We've just got to check it in to put it into that folder. So it's what we call a pending file. So when you're ready, because you might change your mind and go, oh no, I need to add more data, write it again. But when you're ready, come up to the project menu, just come to 12D Synergy and go pending files. So any outstanding files in Synergy, you can just tick on here and check it in. Again, I'm just going to go new file. No longer a pending file. And if we check the client, it has been written into that folder. Okay, so just don't forget about that last step. All right. Once again, just going to save and close the project down. And we're going to check it back in. One of the options your administrators might give you is on a predefined description. It might prefix it, but you might have to add a description, okay? In which case you can say, type what you've done. Could be like a 50% review or, some sort of major update. Make sure you hit set and then submit. All right, now While Synergy allows you to work from anywhere, sometimes where you're going to work might have no internet or very little internet. So Synergy has an inbuilt offline feature. This is more popular for surveyors than designers, because even if designers work from home, you normally have internet at home. So it's generally not a common tool used, but it depends on what access your company is going to give you at home as well. So before you leave the office, you can say, check out your project or any other data you're working on as well. It doesn't have to be 12D model data. You can then right click on it, come down to data out, and you can select the offline export option. Now, two options here. Offlining is for you to go and work offline, bring the project back into Synergy. Export is a one-way trip. It will desynergize the paths, like sharing and all that sort of thing, and creates like a pack and go package of that project, and you can send it off, say, to a client or someone like that. But it's not going to come back to Synergy. It's just a copy of the project going out. So in this case, we're going to go offline. Now it will give you the option to choose what you want to offline. Most of the time, it's just the project you're working on. So it's just this one. You can choose others at the same time, or you can choose your current project plus any projects that it is sharing. So this gives you the ability to add share models whilst you're offline. Having said that, if you just choose this one, it still grabs any models or tins that have been shared in, as well as any customization, and it creates like a self-contained pack and go project. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to go no. Choose where you want to put it. I recommend you create a common offline folder so that you know where you're putting it all the time. You don't go home or out to site and go, oh, where do I put that offline data? Just put it in the same place every time. Go OK. And then it'll ask you if you want to cache all the setup files and library data, etc. So I'm going to go yes to that. Go through, start making the package, at which point it will ask you to open the project as well. So we're going to open it. And that's just so it can confirm what's in it, share-wise, customization-wise, to create that pack and go. So we'll just wait for that one to open up. Will pop up a little message soon saying pack and go has been created. There it is. So you go OK, that will close your project back down, and you get the option to see it in Windows Explorer as well. So there's the offline project that I can now go and use. All right, you will see that the project is marked offline as well in the client. So now you can close down your 12D Synergy client. You can go out to site and work on that project. And you do that through your normal methods, right? So you'd fire up 12D model as per normal now. You would then browse to that offline folder. There's the highway project now. So select that. Select the project and go open. You don't need to pick configurations or anything like that. It's all contained inside that project now. All right, so you can just work as per normal in the offline mode. So for example, I'm going to draw a highly sophisticated box here. Okay, that's my offline work. So I'm finished out on site or wherever it may be at home. Save it and close it as per normal. I come back into internet range or back into the office. I fire up my 12D Synergy project client. Instead of browsing all the way to it, I can use my checked out items here, right click and go to. That'll browse me to the project automatically. You can still see it's offline. Now I can right click on it, come down to data out, and I can online the project. If you haven't made any changes, you can cancel your offline as well. Okay, I'm going to go online. It'll ask if you want to replace the contents of your workspace location. Yes, I want to do that. And I also, in this case, am going to delete my offline location so I don't have a duplicate. So I'll delete that one. And it replaces the contents of my workspace. So there you go, brought back online. I can open that up now. You can see the box in my last active view anyway, but open that one up through the normal Synergy methods. And there we go. All my offline data is in there. I can do some more work now if I want to. Otherwise, I can save and close it. And I can check the project back in. So I'll go manual update and I'll go offline data added and submit that for check-in. There we go, that's all checked in. Of course, with 12D Synergy, you have your history as well. So up here on the ribbon, if I clicked on history there, you can see all the changes made to that project. You can do a show preview. It's whatever view it was saved on at the time of check-in. So it may or may not help you. But you also have options to your rollback. Okay, so if you want to go back to a previous version, there's no longer any need to keep backups of 12D model projects anymore. You can just roll back at any point you want. Okay, as long as you make sure your descriptions are adequate, you'll be able to see milestone backup events and all that sort of stuff. All right, also, if you right click on a project and go edit 12D model project, under utilities, you'll have access log. So this picks up any access, whether it's read-only or direct access. There's your history trail there as well. And the audit trail is the combination of both of those. Okay, so you can see everything there. Under utilities, general, just be careful of this one. This is where you delete a 12D model project. Note the red writing, okay? Can't be recalled, it's gone forever. So be very, very careful of that one. All right. Couple of extra little things. If you right click on a project, there is a copy 12D model project there. So if you're doing options or just want to test something out, you can copy it. That does reset your project IDs as well. That's handy. There's a manual rebind shares there too. So if you don't drag and drop your projects together and you need to rebind your shares, you can do it through that one as well. One last little thing here. You can, next to the checkout button, hit the arrow, there is a checkout many. So I can check out multiple projects at once. And likewise, when they're checked out, you can come back to the check-in, hit the little black arrow, and there is a check-in many. So you can check in multiple 12D model projects at once as well.
Thank you for sticking with us. We'll finish off with some important messages. Don't miss the third and final part of our 12D Synergy one-on-one training series, CAD Management Training. In this webinar, you learn the essential skills and best practices for managing your every CAD drawing, attribute, and references in 12D Synergy. From the basics of how to open, save, and create DWGs, to updating title blocks and editing layouts. Look out for an email about this training webinar coming soon. If you're interested in learning more about 12D Synergy, look no further. 12D Synergy has a free online training portal, the 12D Synergy Academy. The Academy provides you with hours of free online training. with a number of courses ranging from the basics of 12D Synergy to training for system administrators. We also have a free course on 12D Model Administrator training. You learn how to seamlessly manage your 12D Model project settings with 12D Synergy Administrator features. Whether you're new, existing, or non-12D Synergy user, the Academy courses are free and open to all. We'll send you a link to the 12D Synergy Academy and 12D Model Administrator courses in the follow-up email for more information. During the COVID-19 pandemic, 12D Synergy has been doing their part to help Australian and New Zealand businesses. We've been providing 3 months unlimited access for free to new 12D Synergy users and special offers to our existing customers. Don't miss out. This offer is ending soon, so get in quick. To learn more, simply type TRIAL into the webinar chat and we will be in contact with you shortly. Or just let us know in the webinar survey. We'll also send you a link in the follow-up email with more information. This concludes this training session. Thank you for everyone that attended, and hope to see you all at the third and final part of this training series, CAD Management Basics. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about 12D Synergy, you can contact us on info@12dsynergy.com or at 12dsynergy.com/contact.